Hello and welcome to this week's update. Follow my Mounjaro weight loss journey. Coming up, we've got my weekly update, results and weight, including the new bit of kit I've bought to hopefully finally get rid of these man boobs once and for all. We've also got the community news following tips, advice, questions, queries and more from all of you lot. But for now, let's dive straight on into the waffle section. Howdy and welcome back to everyone who knows me. For everyone who doesn't, I'm Phil. Now I want to start this week's waffle section by saying thank you to anyone who left a nice comment regarding the channel hitting 10,000 subscribers last week. There was way too many of you to thank individually. So if you did leave one, thank you, it really meant a lot. What also came out of the comments though is there's a fair few people, quite a lot actually, that said this channel or these videos and the community, you know, it's all of us, not just me, made them take the jump. The people who were doubtful or unsure about taking it, but they've watched a lot of these videos and it finally made them take the next step, order Mounjaro or Wegovy and get on it themselves, and they're now seeing some fantastic results which they think they wouldn't have done without seeing this channel and potentially other channels and videos that made them feel confident enough to make that step and make that leap, and they're seeing some great results now. Now some of these comments are from regulars, but there's quite a lot of comments from new names I didn't really recognise there, and that's fantastic. It got me thinking a little bit about the new people commenting, and I kind of forgot about new people joining the channel. As you know, it's grown really quickly over a really short space of time. There are regulars who comment all the time, and I really love you guys. We have some really good chats. You've helped this channel grow. But I forgot to maybe cover some of the more basic stuff now and then for people who are new to the channel. Now, it got me thinking, and I was thinking, how do I balance this? You know, those who've been listening and following along from the start or for a long time now, you know, you don't really need the basic tips. Everyone who's been on the journey for so long usually knows most of the basic tips and what you can do to help with side effects and other things and what you should and shouldn't be doing. And you know, we're all in those good mindsets and good practices by now. So I don't want to go over stuff regularly to bore you guys, because it will, you know, you don't need it. So it got me thinking about how could I best go about this. And what I've decided to do is do a tips and advice video that's going to be coming out in the future, and I'm going to start planning that and putting that together. And that'll cover loads of good, helpful tips and advice that we've put together over the 6 months or so this channel's been going. And I'm going to do that. But the other thing I was thinking is the weekly updates. I'm going to start maybe adding a tip in once a week. You know, one that's basic and new starters might not know, but we all do. So that'll cater for them. And one that, you know, might be more advanced and we've either forgot ourselves or we're not aware of it, even though we've been on for a while. And new tips and advice come along all the time. So I'm going to do that. And who knows, it could become a little mini section in the video itself going forward. But yeah, just don't want to bog down the weekly updates too much with tips and advice, but I do realise I need to keep putting stuff back in that we've all forgot about because we've moved on in our journey, but there are lots of new people coming to join us here too. So I'm going to start this week with a really basic one, or at least I think it's the most basic tip you should all follow when you start Mounjaro, and you should be following right the way through your journey, and that's regarding water intake. For anyone new who's starting, or like I did last week on one day, forgot to get enough water in, get your water intake levels up. Whatever you drank before you started, in most cases it isn't enough. Aim for a minimum of 2 litres a day, and that's a minimum. You know, try and push it towards 3 if you can. It can be difficult at first to get used to this amount of fluid going in. You will get used to it, but yeah, it really will help with all sorts of side effects from, you know, nausea, vomit and diarrhea. You know, it'll help you stay hydrated. You know, if you get dehydrated, you're going to get things like dizziness and headaches and from the dehydration too, and you want to stay away from that because that'll impact your progress and, you know, how you're getting on in your day to day. And now a more advanced version of this tip, which has worked really well for so many people who've commented throughout their lives of this channel that it's worked well for them. And that is, if you get headaches at the beginning or you're still getting headaches now, long way into your journey, add some electrolytes to your water. Add electrolytes to one of your glasses of water a day. You know, check obviously the amount you're meant to be putting in. You know, if I asked the regulars on here now who did suffer with headaches and added electrolytes after we found that out earlier on in the channel's life, you know, I bet there'll be a whole lot of people who back up electrolytes have helped them or completely removed their headaches by actually adding one glass of water with electrolytes once a day, you know, and it can be picked up fairly cheaply at most places. I'll have a little look on Amazon. I'll stick some links down below if there's any on there that I've used before. I've ordered one definitely from Amazon. So I'll have a little look there and check down below for any links for electrolytes to add to your water. And yeah, I hope those tips will help newbies and more experienced users overall, but it's going to be something I'm going to try and add into each weekly video. I've just got to remember to add it each week now because those who've been around a while know what my memory's like. I do tend to forget things. I just need to remember to add a little tip section into the video going forward, and who knows, like I said, it may become its own little mini section going forward. But moving on, and I'll do this until I either get paid by YouTube or it disappears and I don't get paid by YouTube. But memberships is live for the channel. It's just so I can get the £100 they've offered to me for turning on memberships. Don't sign up. There's nothing there for you. I think it's an emoji and a sticker. That's literally all you get. And I think it's about £5. So save your money. It's definitely not worth it. Speaking of money, this is not something I plan to talk about. And I'm about to go for a double tangent here, I think, if that's even a thing. So firstly, on the first tangent, if that's the right way of wording this, when I say it's something I'm not planning to talk about, it's because it's something I'm not planning to cover in this video. When I do a video, I have a plan of what I'm going to go through. I have some very basic notes, except for when I am reading like from a news story or I was putting my calories and steps on. I want the actual figures, so that'll be on the laptop in front of me. But I have some basic notes to keep me on track of what I want to talk about. When I say I didn't plan to talk about that, it's not in this. It's just popped into my head now. My mind has a habit of wondering, even when I'm talking to this camera here, which is still a really strange, weird thing to do, but yeah, it pops in, I talk about it, and that's why sometimes it might feel like I go a little bit off topic and it's a little bit all over the place sometimes, because it was never part of what I was originally planned to talk about. Yeah, does that make sense? Good job, this is Waffle Section. Back to the original point, or the second tangent, or whatever this now is. When I mentioned money before, getting back to that point, someone had asked me, and it's the bit I wasn't planned to talk about. Someone asked me to set, about had I seen Buy a Coffee. Now, for anyone who not too sure what Buy a Coffee is, it's a website. You can link it up to like a YouTube account or a social media account, and you can basically buy someone a coffee. Was the idea of it, but if you think of it more like a way of tipping someone. And yeah, basically what it is you'll watch a YouTube video which might help you do something, and you think that was really good. I'd like to reward them. I'll buy them a coffee or I'll give them a tip. And someone suggested, would this be something I would think about? It's not something that I've thought about. It's not something I ever plan on doing. I'm never going to say never, you never know. Times are hard these days. But yeah, it's not. I don't feel like this channel offers anyone something that they would pay to be rewarding me for, if that makes sense. It's not like, for example, I don't know, if you did a video showing someone how to replace a tap on your sink and you thought, that brilliant, that worked for me, you might want to reward them and give them a little tip and send them a little cash over and say thank you for that. I don't feel like this channel does that. It's not geared towards that. And again, as I explained in the last video, this channel was never done for that. It was to hold me accountable for my weight loss. Now I feel like I'm holding myself accountable to help as many of you as I can. But yeah, it's not something I plan on doing. I do make a small amount of money from the channel now, just in case anyone's wondering. I'm going all over the place today. You're getting all sorts that wasn't planned. Just in case anyone was wondering, I do make some money for the channel now. I get a small percentage from Voy, from anyone who signs up with that. Anyone who does sign on that, use that link, use my code PhilYT, which I'll put up now, because if you do sign up with it, great, I do get a little small commission on it. I mentioned last week they're not the most, they're one of the more expensive because you get the whole package, but just if you do sign up with them, I get a little bit money off them. If you're looking to get 25% off, it's linked in the code below now. And yeah, you get 25% off your first order. That's also on Wegovy, and you get that. I think the prices are pretty similar for Wegovy. I've not looked into it too much yet, but if you do, use my code down below for Wegovy, and it is the same price. You'll get 25% off your Wegovy as well, and you'll also get it the equivalent dosage that you're on Mounjaro. But anyway, sorry, back to what I was saying. I make a small commission off Voy. I am also eligible to make a small commission off Amazon links, which I've never done. I've never sold anything, but that's again when I put a link down below. If you click on it, I think with Amazon it's really small, like 2 or 3%. So if you buy something from 100 quid that I put a link in, I get like 2 or 3 quid. So I get money from that. Again, doesn't impact your amount. If you buy something for £100, it's £100. You don't pay extra to give me. I get a little slice of it. And I get money from YouTube ads, which is just from people watching a video, and I get a couple of pence for every ad that runs or something like that. The money, though, pretty much has gone back into the channel. I'm still definitely out of pocket for what I've put together, and I'm not moaning by any means. I've just gone off on a complete waffle here. But yeah, I get a bit of money that I buy lights, I buy camera, stuff like that. So I'm really, really, really enjoying this. I really like doing this, so I'm happy to reinvest that money. But back to the original point. Yes, I've got no intentions of running a buy me a coffee or anything like that. But thank you for whoever suggested that. I don't even remember who you were now. It was last week and I didn't take your name, so sorry, but thanks for suggesting it. It's a good idea, and it works really, really well for some YouTubers and social media, TikTokers and things like that. So good luck to all them, but that's not for me. What else? My neck is absolutely fantastic. I know you were all really worried about me, weren't you? My partner wasn't, and my kids weren't. They were jumping all over me like a climbing frame earlier this week when it was still not 100%, but kids don't know any better, do they? It was the kids jumping all over me, not my partner, by the way. What that did mean though is it means I got out to do some exercise at last. I'll cover more of that in a weekly update, you know, so some walks, and to start to use this thing. This was what my friend is swearing is getting rid of his man boobs. I have no idea if it's going to work for me. I didn't want to go ahead and recommend it or even show you this week because I want to test it myself and see what works for me. But we'll come back to this in a little bit, and I'm going to be testing it out over the next few weeks and see how it goes for me. The reason I showed that then is because quite a lot, I say quite a lot, 2 or 3 people got quite a little bit annoyed I didn't share it with them. They were like, what is it, share it with us now, Phil. But yeah, the reason being I didn't want to share it just yet in case it's no good and doesn't work for me. It has for him. Let's move on now though and do some highs and hello to all you out there. And we're going to start off with, hi Julie. Julie, what a milestone you've hit this week. 9 stone off. Congratulations. All the hard work you've put in is paying off big time. Enjoy the homemade chickpea soup. I'm not sure if that's you know, the most natural thing to have as a celebration, but you know, definitely tasty, definitely healthy, and you do whatever you're doing, it's obviously working for you, Julie. Congratulations. Hello to Paul. Paul has managed to fit his new slimmer self into a 32-inch waist for the first time in around 30 years, he thinks. Another fantastic achievement, Paul. Congrats, mate. You know, enjoy shopping for a new wardrobe. It's not cheap, but it's definitely worth it. Hi Louisa. Louisa's having some great success with Mounjaro, but unfortunately she's having to stop now for a operation. She's developed some gallstones which need removing. You must forget, you know, we kind of forget this happens sometimes, not too often. But yeah, after losing 4.5 stone, she's going to have the gallstones removed, and then she plans to get back onto Mounjaro, even despite the price increases, because she's having such fantastic results, and she plans to crack on with it as soon as she's had her operation. So good luck, Louisa. Let me know how it goes. I'm wishing you all the best. Finally this week, it's hi to my good mate on here, Sue. Sue didn't have a good week or so, but she's back, she's focused, she's ready to go again. And despite not having that great time, you did maintain, Sue, so keep it up. Good, can't wait to hear from you again soon. Just like that, the waffle section for this week is over though. If you want to mention in next week's waffle section, leave your name in the comments below. Leave a little bit about yourself, where you're from potentially, and you never know, it might be you in next week's waffle section. It is time now though for this week's community news. First up this week, we've got a question from Leslie who's asked, do they need to notify their travel insurance company before they travel that they're taking Mounjaro? Now, I've done a bit of digging on this, Leslie, like I said to you in the comments, and the answer is yes and no, and it depends. Now, you're thinking, what the hell, Phil? No, so it looks like officially you are meant to notify travel insurance companies when you're taking prescribed medication. That's what most of them seem to say when I did a bit of digging. I asked some AI or Google. But then on the flip side, every time I found some forums or chats where people would talk about this, they'd all said, yeah, you're meant to. But when you phone them up, they're not interested. They say they don't need to know. So yes, officially you're meant to. People are saying you don't. I suppose it all depends on what you want to do, Leslie. You know, guess it falls down to, do you want to let them know? I can't see a situation where you don't tell a travel insurance company you're taking Mounjaro and it would impact you putting a claim. I suppose the only thing I can think of would be you put in a claim, they find it on your medical records and they use it as an excuse not to pay out, because we know these companies don't like to pay out. But yeah, that's the only thing I can think of there. So it's up to you, Leslie. I mean, if you did call them, mate, let me know what they said. If anyone else has called theirs in the past or contacted theirs, let me know what they said in the comments below. But yeah, it's a bit of a grey area, I suppose, Leslie. Next up, we've got Daniel reaching out for some advice too. He's lost a fantastic 4 stone, but has plateaued and even gained a few pounds over the last week or so. His food noise has returned and his hunger's starting to return, but unfortunately he can't afford now, due to the price hikes, to increase from the 7.5 milligrams he's on to the 10 milligrams. And he's asked, has anyone got any solutions or help? Or the only one I can think of, Leslie, and it's one a lot of people have had to consider lately, and that's potentially moving to Wegovy. It's much cheaper. The prices shouldn't fluctuate either as much as they have done with Mounjaro. You should also be able to move directly to the equivalent dose, whatever that is on Wegovy. If you're want to go to 10 milligrams, you should be able to go straight to that on Wegovy. I know Voi allow you to do that, so therefore I'm assuming most, if not all, other providers allow you to do that. Anyone got any better tips than that for Daniel? I can't think of another solution, unfortunately, Daniel. But yeah, if you've got one for him, leave it in the comments below. Now, last up this week, we've got Claire, who is an expat from the UK, living in Haarlem in the Netherlands, I think is the correct way of saying that, Claire. She's starting her Mounjaro journey on Saturday, but she's a little bit nervous after chatting with a friend who still lives in the UK, who's been mentioning regularly, or not regularly, it might be regularly, sorry, Claire, but she has been mentioning, talking about people experiencing issues with gallbladder and having their gallbladder out because of Mounjaro. And Was I aware of it? Are we aware of it? Is it a common thing? I'm going to say at this point, I used to say this all the time, I don't say it anymore. I'm not a doctor, I've got no medical background, Claire. That's just for anyone else before you start asking me what my knowledge is. My understanding with this is, yes, people have had their gallbladders out, and yes, people have complications and issues with the gallbladder due to Mounjaro, Wegovy, and other weight loss medications. But like I said, I'm not a doctor. My understanding is this is because of the rapid weight loss more than the medication itself. I don't think it's the medication that ever causes this. I think if you use weight loss medication and it drops off quickly, if you diet and it drops off quickly, you're susceptible to getting gallstones, and you know, there's other implications with gallstones. That's my understanding. So yes, people have had it. Yes, it is sort of linked to Mounjaro and Wegovy, but it's not the medication causing it. I think it's the rapid weight loss that does this. I might get battered in the comments for this now, so if anyone knows, definitely let me know. Put it in the comments for Claire. I think that's the reason. I'm not a doctor. Again, you know, please put it in the comments below if you've got any more scientific answers for Claire there than I've just given. But that's it for this week's community news. If you've got any questions you'd like answering, or you've got advice you'd like to pass on to others, just tips, queries, anything like that, stick it in the comments below and we'll try and cover as many as we can next week. It's time for my weekly update, but just before we go through that, if you found any of this useful and informative or just fun and you're enjoying it and you haven't already, please like, subscribe and turn on the notification bell. Cheers. I'm going to start straight off with my diet, and there's nothing out of the ordinary to mention here. I'm not going to go into too much depth. I went to the pub on the Sunday with the family, so me and the missus and the kids. I had something to eat in the pub. It was half a roast chicken, chips and a side salad for me. I had about half chips, all the chicken, all the side salad. What did I have? I had a diet. I had a Pepsi Max, so that was okay-ish. Most of the week I have been eating yogurts, nuts, that maple syrup, which is gorgeous. If anyone saw the post, the calorie-free one. A few people have told me it's worse for you than normal maple syrup. I'm so torn over this, guys. I mean, it's 0 calories, 0 sugar, 0 this, but and I'm getting told I should just stick to the. I'm gonna go with that one for now. You know, I think it's more of a kind of one of those you. Damned if you do, damned if you don't in them situations. But yeah, it's 0 calories. I've been having, back to the point, sorry, yogurt, nuts, maple syrup, most breakfast, most mornings. I had a banana 1 or 2 mornings as well instead of the whole shebang. Dinners have been things like a Huel shake or a chicken salad or chicken pasta and things like that. And evening meals have been chicken breast, chicken thighs with either couscous or rice or salad and pasta again. And I've had some tuna pasta a couple of days as well. So yeah, a bit of variation there. Fairly healthy, not perfect, but yeah, that's been my diet over the last week or so. So what about exercise? This week exercise was back on the table after my dodgy neck. It was only from Monday, so I'm averaging around 14,000 steps a day over the 4 days so far. The plan is, and the reason why that's happening is I'm doing a 3.5 mile walk every day on my lunch break round by ours. I'm going to do that when I'm at home, so that should be 5 days a week I can do that. The other 2 days I'll be in the office, and I actually do more steps when I'm in the office than I'm at home. It's around 17,500, 18,000 steps I tend to do by walking to the train station, getting off the train, walking to the office, back, and then walking. Usually out on lunch as well, go for a little walk. I'm going to plan on doing that for like this week, possibly next week before I start adding jogging back, and I don't want to go too soon into that. But you're all not bothered about what I've been doing walking-wise. You're all just thinking, Phil, we don't care. We want to see that new toy again. What exactly is it? How does it work? Well, it only arrived yesterday, and I've only used it once, and that was more of a test than anything yesterday. I've taken some photos of me, unfortunately, topless. So you'll see my stomach, my chest, my arms from the side and front. I'm not sharing them now. The plan is I'm going to use this thing for the next few weeks. I'm going to use it every day if possible, and plan on maybe morning and night, so using it twice. And I'm going to see what it does to my arm definition, my chest. Hopefully will go flatter. I'm just going to see what happens. My friend has sworn by it. That's what's got rid of his man boobs for him. So yeah, I'm gonna try it, and I'm not going to get too crazy on it. I'm just going to do some repetitive reps. And basically the way it works is, I don't know if you guys can see that there, it's got a little catch on there. So if I push this together, that drops off, and then it becomes terrifying. You release it, you squeeze it, and you repeat over and over again. But the thing is, it's got a little wheel here, that's on 2, it goes all the way up to 20, so then if you do that on 2, I do some reps of 10 of them or whatever. You increase it, it gets a little bit tougher, you do 10 of them, you increase it again, it gets a little bit tougher, and Phil starts making a show of himself on camera, and finally, I'm going to guess it gets to a point where I genuinely can't even squeeze that, and that's not all the way. So yeah, the idea is I'll be doing that hopefully maybe twice a day. I don't want to strain myself, I want to be able to use it every day. I don't know, start on 2, do 10, do 4, 10, move up to 6, another 10, and so on until I get to a point where I can't get any further, and I'll stop then, and I'll do the same overnight, and rinse and repeat, and we'll see where we get. I'm now going to have to decrease this so I can put it back away because it was too hard for me to do. And then once you're finished, pop this little thing back on, which I must admit it's not great. When I got out the box, I nearly knocked myself out because it wasn't on properly and it popped open when I removed it from the packaging. So be careful if you do get one, guys. I'll let you know how that goes, and you'll see the results hopefully of maybe 2, 3, 4 weeks down the line. I'll put the pictures up before and after. There's no difference. We can all have a laugh at my friend who said it was so good, and I can just disown him, pretend he doesn't exist. If it's good, get yourself one. I think it was about 27 quid on Amazon. I will put the link to it down below. This goes back to the whole linking before. I'm not doing it to try and push it. My friend said it's really good. If you do buy it through my link, I will get about a quid out of that. So it's not like I'm going to be becoming rich off, selling these or anything like that. But there will be a link in the description below to the exact one that I bought on Amazon. On top of that, I am planning on adding press-ups and sit-ups in as well, so we'll see how that goes. I've been saying I'm going to do that for a while. I just need to get my lazy backside in order and get that done. As for my dose, I'm still on 5 milligrams of Mounjaro at this point. Wegovy is entering my mind more and more because I think I've got 2 weeks left of Mounjaro, and I'm already made my decision. I'm going to go up to 7.5 milligrams. I'm hoping it's going to move this plateau. I've been in the 16 stone bracket now for months. I know there's been ups and downs, holidays in between there and everything, but yeah, it's either going to be Mounjaro or the equivalent. I think it will be Mounjaro for 7.5, but that could be as far as I can go on the Mounjaro prices. If not, it could be a switch to Wegovy, the equivalent, and we'll take it from there. But yeah, that's where I'm at. I'm going to be going up to 7.5 in 2 weeks. And I've only done that for a week or two once before. I really want to get to the higher doses. I've not done 10, 12s. I don't really want to get there. I want to see if they're impactful for me and work for me and get into the 15 stone bracket and beyond, hopefully. If you remember, I set a 14 stone goal, and that seems a long time ago now. Energy levels, that's the only thing I want to mention, really are back to how they were my first 3 or 4 months Mounjaro. I'm feeling really good, really energetic, bouncing out of bed again, which is great. It's a lovely little side effect. I know some of you will be jealous that I get that side effect, but energy levels are way up again on Mounjaro. So time then for the results then. What has a decent-ish week of eating? It wasn't perfect, it wasn't super healthy, it was just healthy as far as I'm concerned. A little bit of exercise added back in, 3 or 4 days of walking now. So on Wednesday, the 3rd of September, I weighed 16 stone, 6 pound, which is 230 pound, or around 104 kilos. On Wednesday, the 10th of September, I weighed 16 stone, 5 pound. That's 229 pound, or around still 104 kilos. I believe it's 103.9, but 104 kilos, let's call it. That's a loss of a pound or half a kilo this week, and it's a good average loss. That's probably what I'm going to lose on average, 1 to 2 pound a week, hopefully, once I get the fitness going. I'd say, I'm heading back towards that 16 stone mark. That's exactly where I want to be, and then push through over the next few weeks, hopefully. And I'm hoping that adding some exercise in will allow me to do that. I know I'm adding resistance training in potentially for the first time, and we're going to get some walks and jogging back on the cards. Could result in muscle increase, which might increase the scales. It might maintain, it might not. So I need to remember not to get too downhearted if the scales go up because of the potential adding of muscle back in here. But yeah, I want to really see what that does for my arms and chest. I've never been one of these ones who want to walk around big muscly, but if I can get a bit of definition in my arm, that'd be fantastic. If these boobs can go, then fantastic again. Now, if there's anything else you want to discuss, stick it in the comments below. And the same if you want any advice, tips, or queries, leave it in the comments below. If there's a whole topic you'd like me to cover, which I've never done before, or you think I haven't, and you'd like me to go over it again, stick it in the comments and we'll cover it in next week's update or a future update. For now, though, as I said before, if you're enjoying this, you find it fun, informative, or anything else, like and subscribe, turn on the notification bell. Thank you everyone for watching. Keep up the hard work you're doing. If I can do this, you can do this. We can all do this. I'll see you next time. Bye for now.